What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Dermy Wormy. I'm about to react to a certain video from my daily live stream, Dermy's Daily Dictations, and I was unable to actually record the beginning aspect of this video itself, so take note of that, but please check out Dermy's Daily Dictations and enjoy the video you are about to watch. It's called Woke YouTubers by Andy Pans Gaming. Link should be down in the description, and for those of you watching this live, links should be in the chat to this particular video. I kind of wanted to react to this because the premise is obviously woke YouTubers, but one of the things he brings up, and he specifically points out, is gaming YouTubers who don't talk about diversity, inclusion, and all that stuff, the DEI nonsense, all the woke social justice movements within video games. They're more than fine talking about why games failed, but they never mention that particular aspect. And I thought that was an interesting thing about this, because I have been noticing more and more YouTubers and gaming content creators actually saying that. A good example of this was actually, the guy from Kinda Funny. I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now, but he said that Concord didn't fail because of DEI, when DEI 100% played a factor into why Concord failed. But I kind of want to check this video out because it sounds super interesting. So let's do that, shall we?
So with every new video I make now, I'm like, probably going to get canceled after this one. Oh, well, here we go. So in this video, I want to talk about a disturbing pattern that I've begun to notice in some of our most celebrated YouTubers.
So there's Actman Skill Up, and he said this guy's name, and I can't remember what it is. I've never heard of this guy, Bellingham or something like that. Okay, interesting.
I, like many people, was at one time a fan of the Actman, Skill Up, and Bellular. But as time has gone on, I've noticed a pretty upsetting trend in the content of all three of these guys. Have you noticed these three creators never call anything woke? And if they do, they're making fun of you for using the term?
Actually, yeah, I have. I think I've noticed that, especially from Actman videos, because I watch VTubers, and a VTuber that I do love, Smugalana, does a lot of reaction videos herself, and she'll watch Actman videos, and Actman does some good videos here or there, even though I think he's a soy loser. But I have noticed, then not just Actman, but I've noticed it in other people's content, like every time the idea of woke or progressive ideologies, DEI, bridge, so on and so forth comes up, they always kind of do the whatever, there's other reasons, and always try to like downplay what it actually is and ignore that that is a factor all on its own. But let's see what this guy has to say.
Have you noticed they never talk about the obvious uglification of women in games the past few years?
Yeah.
Have you noticed they never talk about the LGBTQI_7 community and how they basically run video games right now? Have you noticed they never point out obvious racism against white people? In fact, they'll often say lies like, racism against white people isn't possible. Have you noticed?
Wait, have they actually said that? Racism is racism. Plain and simple. This is insane. They never talk about DEI, ESG, and BlackRock. None of these people ever discuss anything to do with these things. And it is weird to see that.
None of them ever talk about the trillions of dollars companies make by bumping up their DEI and ESG initiatives and by putting evil, woke nonsense in their games? Mm-hmm. Have you noticed they never talk about the complete removal of masculinity from video games? So why? Why are these three dudes intentionally avoiding calling out wokeness in games? To put it simply, it's because these dudes are cucks.
Oh, shit. I was not expecting that. But after the Actman versus heel versus babyface entire debacle, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a thing that actually a lot of I've been noticing this more and more, especially with commentary channels. I know I'm a commentary channel myself, but I also do with news and things of that nature. But like the real big dogs, Asmongold, Actman, Moist Critical, they always have the safe, correct opinion. Asmongold is becoming more and more based, but they're always super safe and politically correct. They never steer that little boat. So interesting how somebody's finally calling them out. I firmly agree on it too.
They're pussies. All three of these guys are definitely voting for Kamala Harris in November. I heard Endymion call him Ackmam one time, and the label definitely fits.
Well, he is Act Ma'am. If you recall what actually went down between him and Az, the dude was the soyest of soy freaks. The moment he learned about Sweet Baby Inc., he put out a tweet like, I'm sick to my stomach that these consultation companies actually come out here. And he made fun and berated heel versus babyface. And then when that whole drama spurred up again, he went out of his way to dox DMs between him and Mahler. One of the most soyest of soy moves you can ever do. And the moment you do that, you lose all standing. They're all cucks. And Act Ma'am is 100% Act Ma'am.
So those are the surface level reasons. I'll get to the deeper reasons in a minute. I just watched an entire Act Man video about Concord. I know, it was painful. It contained a lot of tired millennial jokes. I'm a millennial, by the way. Takes one to know one. He talked a lot about low player numbers. He talked about how much money it wasted. And then when he gets to the part where you're supposed to talk about why the game failed, he just says, bad gameplay, bad character design. Why do you suppose Ackmam doesn't talk about the fact that Concord has 3 black females in it and not a single white man?
I do believe there was one white dude, so fact check me on that one. It's been a little while since I've seen the character roster, but again, he's not wrong. Bad character design. I wonder why they were bad character designs. What was their focus in on the bad character designs? What was their lead focus in all that? Anybody that had a brain could point to it and tell you what the lead reason for why all those characters looked so hideous was. That's a joke. That's a joke. Come the frick on.
Why do you suppose he doesn't talk about all the LGBTQ plus activists on Twitter who worked on the game? Interesting. He even at one point in the video makes fun of the idea that bigger breasts would save this game. I mean, it wouldn't hurt, dude. Is that idea so ridiculous?
I think Ackman might be gay, but yeah, bigger boobs probably would have assisted this game a little bit. I do think the game would have failed ultimately, mainly because of hero shooters being on the way out. But DEI definitely played a part in why this game failed. It's not even a joke. Like, come on.
You'll notice similar things when watching cucks like Skillup and Bellular analyze Concord. Why do you suppose these guys spend 30 minutes talking about the gameplay and not 1 minute talking about how a huge reason the game failed is because the characters are fat and ugly? So I used to think these 3 guys were just missing details. I used to give them the benefit of the doubt. But as I've watched their content on a consistent basis, I've realized these dudes are so deep in the gay communist agenda, they can't even criticize it anymore. Basically, you've got incredibly evil companies like Activision who support pedophilia and Satanism and push DEI initiatives and also spend billions and billions of dollars a year on marketing.
A little aggressive. I'm going to be on the, I'm going to say that. I don't disagree with him, but I'm not firmly on agreement with him. But he is also accurate. Like, they spend all this money on this stuff because they don't care about actually making video games anymore. Activision is 100% an activist company. Interesting how it's also called Activision. It should just be called Activist at this point. But also Ubisoft's in the bank for this. All sorts of other companies are in the bank for this. Sony, for example. There's an endless list of companies that have firmly come out on support of this idea, and I've gone through it with some of my more bridge-based videos that I'm going to be trying to pop out more and more of when it comes to like Microsoft. Yes, Microsoft got rid of their DEI initiatives, but that's because they're integrating it into the entire company and don't need a DEI division anymore. That's the reality there, and it is interesting where you have all these very open and proud activists at each one of these companies pushing this idea and this agenda within the video games itself. And you would at least think maybe one time they would have talked about it. One single time. Then, like, you know what? It's because of the progressive ideology why some of this stuff does fail. Progressive ideology plays a part in it. I'm not saying it's the sole reason for any of these games failing, but it is a important reason at the same time.
Now, do you think they're going to give a YouTuber like me who calls them out on a consistent basis a sneak peek and a tour of the studio?
No.
Of course not. They want a shill. They want an empty shill like Skillup who won't bring up the woke stuff. They want somebody who will be an empty mouthpiece and they can just pour talking points into them while they regurgitate them out. Actman is indeed good at playing an act. He's good at appearing natural and looking like he's riffing. The reality is he's reading a careful script that has definitely been run by his handlers at Activision and Bungie and other DEI departments.
I'm gonna need more proof for that one, but I can't confirm nor deny that one. It would be interesting to actually see that. That could probably be easily debunked, considering again the dude did have a decent connection with Mahler and people like that. But let's be fair here. It would not shock me if some of these these scripts do get run over by a bunch of these people and made sure of. I don't know about Ackman that far, but it wouldn't shock me at the same time.
Again, notice these guys never mention BlackRock, ESG, or any of the gay, communist, globalist cancer that these companies push.
Yeah.
I found this article on screen here about Bellular that was definitely interesting. It basically talks about how he's been given insider interviews and gets to see deep behind the scenes information about upcoming World of Warcraft games. But part of his ability to get that info is to continue to be a corporate shill for Activision and parrot the talking points they want. He's a good little sheep and never asks about DEI or ESG. This is why even if they wanted to, Actman, Bellular, and SkillUp can't talk about the woke agenda. These low-T beta males have been bought and sold by Activision, by Sony, by Microsoft, by Bungie. Sure, they can have complaints about gameplay and too many microtransactions and stuff like that, but you will never hear these guys complaining about why women are so ugly in video games now because they're good corporate servants.
I don't disagree with some of that, but at the same time, you need a little bit more proof than just a random website and a random forum. You need a little bit more to grasp onto this. Now, I don't fully disagree with this dude either. Again, if we go back to Actman, the moment he discovered Sweet Baby Inc. was a year, well, actually, like just a few months after he freaked out on Az, and he did do this whole kind of like performative rhetoric about the entire thing, in which he was like, I didn't know. Oh my God, I'm sick to my stomach. Blah, 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 blah. Dude, we were talking about this. Starfield came out. We learned about Sweet Baby Inc. And then like months later, Actman has to come out here and go like, oh my God, I can't believe any of this stuff is happening. I'm sick to my stomach. Come on.
One mistake I think a lot of people make is thinking that just because these guys will say a game is terrible, they must be objective. Not so. A journalist or content creator is not judged by their ability to say a game is bad. They're judged by their ability to be able to breach any topic. The fact that these creators have never talked about DEI, ESG, and the woke propaganda indicates to me either A, they're censoring their real thoughts, or B, these guys are the propaganda machines themselves.
Interesting theory. Interesting theory as it is. No person is an angel. That's true. It could just be that they agree with the more woke ideology, or they don't think it's a big deal, and people are making a bit like a mountain out of a molehill kind of situation. It could just be that, because there's a lot of people that still believe that talking about ESG, DEI, and all that stuff it's irrelevant. It doesn't really matter, and it's just propaganda that they want to be pushed. I've seen people talk about that. They're not into the culture war aspect of it all. It could be that simple as well. Like, the video's good so far, but I can lay that reasoning out as well. I've seen countless people say like the culture war aspect doesn't really matter anymore. We should just be talking about the game itself, when I think the culture war aspect is still a part as to why some of these games do fail and why some of the stuff is still going on.
Also, there's no way they're not aware of it. Every third comment on YouTube is calling out woke garbage. So these guys are either willing corporate cucks or unwilling corporate cucks. Either way, they're owned by the corporations. Zooming out a little bit, another interesting issue here is the debate around company structure and the corporate life of video game companies. These three creators always toe the woke/communist party line rather than identifying the real problem, the actual workers at the bottom. They are the problem.
No, it's usually the workers at the middle ground that are the problem, not actually the workers at the bottom. The workers at the bottom actually try to do good work. Usually it's like the mid-tier management that actually pushes this ideology everywhere, and the people at the very top don't really know. They don't care. They just get told, oh, we'll make money this way. Okay, we'll do it. when the people at the mid tiers always like it's the worm tongue, it's the worm tongue effect. Oh, if you put the ugly black women in your game, you're gonna make millions of dollars. Okay. That's what it is. Yes, it's communism through and through, but it's also like corporate greed connected to it as well. It's not that hard to figure out, but okay.
Let me give you an example. So I've talked to a lot of people in the AAA game industry confidentially the past few months. I can't reveal their identities. Companies like Ubisoft have a president, a board of directors, and these are the guys who just care about the money, basically. Below this line right here, you have all the creatives. Usually the person in charge of the creative work is the studio head, game director, somebody like that, and it's usually a whole group of people. Then below the studio heads, you have the 500 or 1,000 people who work at the company. When stuff goes bad and you have a game like Concord that fails, homo leftists like Bellular always blame the president.
I'm sorry, I had to laugh at that one. That one was kind of funny. Yeah, the president honestly wouldn't be to blame for why Concord failed. Why the heck are you blaming the president? That doesn't make any logical sense. Concord was more, yes, it was a AAA game, but there's countless reasons as to why it failed. Actually, a better reason as to why it failed probably would end up coming down to the studio head itself and the creatives itself, not the president. The president doesn't really know what's going on, neither does the board of directors. So why would you ever blame the president? The studio heads and probably some of the developers are actually the people to blame for that.
It's the billionaires. It's the billionaires, they screech. But after talking to a ton of people in the AAA industry the past few months, I've come to learn this. Billionaires have no idea what kind of game their game company is making.
Oh, I'm willing to bet money that's true. Oh, sweet heavens to Betsy, I'm willing to bet that. Do you really think half these people actually know what the frick's going on at the company? They don't. It's a turnkey operation for the most part.
Billionaires don't really care what kind of game the creatives are making. Billionaires just want money to be made. So gay communists like Ackman, Bellular, and Skillup, whenever they talk about the industry, actually want you to be distracted from the real problem, the studio employees themselves. The studio and the people on the bottom are the ones who actually make the game. They are the ones with pronouns in their bio. They're the ones with pride flags in their bio. It's the actual people on the bottom who are making these games trash. All you need to do is get on Twitter to see how true this is.
You're not wrong. Remember what, because you can see Kim Belair, Sweet Baby Ink right here. Remember what Kim Belair said. If you want this to be brought into your game, if you want our work to come to your company, make sure go to your marketing director, have a coffee with them, and terrify them of the cancel culture mob that will be coming if you don't implement this stuff. Holding them at ransom, holding them at gunpoint, threatening that cancel culture mob. Would not shock me. All this stuff seems 100% legitimate right now. I do not disagree with anything that he's saying.
Illustrators, designers, people like Kim Belair. Like I said, they're always gay Satanists, and everybody in the creative department at a video.
They're not Satanists, okay, but first part's pretty true.
Game company has pronouns and gay flags in their bio. The wild thing that's happening in the video game industry right now is the chickens are coming home to fucking roost. Billionaire investors for 20 years used to be able to invest money in Ubisoft and get a return on that money. But Ubisoft has been a complete shit show this year, and investors are going to start wondering why their $1 billion didn't turn into $2 billion this year.
And I talked about it last night. Those investors are actually starting to say we need to take the company private because we don't like what's happening anymore, and we're losing money on all this. We talked about it. It's been happening. All these chickens are coming home to roost because ESG money is drying up. DEI funds are drying up. Yeah, BlackRock and Bridge are becoming a new thing, a huge thing, and are still going around promoting all this stuff, but the money's drying up, and people are getting wiser to all this stuff and are thinking more and more about where they're spending their money. They're not giving it to Ubisoft anymore. They're going to give it to like games like Soul Lash 2 or something like that. I know that's more of a hyperbolic example of this, but they're giving it to where they know they're not going to be indoctrinated at, and they're not giving it to subpar projects that are just pushing agenda the entire time.
And this is honestly the sea change that I'm hoping for. This is what we are all praying happens. I want the billionaires to come in and fire all the studio heads and put people in there who can actually make a masculine freaking game for once. Guys, the funny thing is, the billionaires are on our side. We want games with hot chicks and manly dudes.
I'm not going to say the billionaires are on our side. They just want to make money, but they're starting to realize that what we're doing right now isn't making money, so maybe we need to be reevaluating what we're actually doing.
Those are the games we are buying. Billionaires actually want us to get what we want. The problem is 90% of the people who work at game studios are gay Satanists. The few based studios out there are giving us exactly what we want right now. Asian studios, Czech Republic studios, Eastern European studios. Every other studio out there in the West is chugging the woke homo mind virus and is done, basically. They might as well close up shop.
Again, I don't disagree. Most of our good games are coming from overseas right now. And yes, over in Japan, they're starting to, have their own issues going on. But for the most part, you're still getting really good games from Asia. Freaking Black Myth Wukong was a Chinese game. Come on, that who saw that one coming?
All right, so in closing, look, honestly, Actman and Skill Up can have whatever political opinion they want. They can be cucks and vote for Kamala this year. I don't care. My whole reason for making this video is to make you aware of the people whose videos you are watching. Anytime you watch an Actman video or a Skill Up video or a Bellular video, just know you are funding the current establishment of video games. You are funding the LGBTQ games. You are funding woke games every time you watch Actman, Bellular, and Skill Up. Conversely, every time you watch Endymion, Jay the Concept, Synthetic Man, Short Fat Otaku, or Andy...
I can agree on Endymion. Don't know who Jay the Concept is. Synthetic Man, I've heard good things about. Obviously, he wants to plug himself. Short Fat Otaku, I have my own opinions on that dude, and they're not positive. Go check out these guys. Endymion actually does some really, really good work. I really appreciate his work. I check out his videos a whole lot. It's actually really, really well. I do agree with a lot of his points here. I will say Actman does some good videos here and there. Like, dude's a cuck. But at the same time, like, a Short Fat Otaku is not much better than Actman.
Pants, we are going against the woke agenda and the woke mind virus.
Again, guys, this guy was Andy Pants Gaming. Decent video. I disagree with him on a lot of aspects of this video, but there's also parts of this video I really do agree with him on. I think in order to say that these guys are corporate shills that are paid for by the actual establishment themselves, you need to show a little bit more than just a random thread here or there or a random website. You need a little bit more evidence to actually say that. But when it comes to like a lot of these creators, there are tons of creators out there that will not talk about DEI projects or anything like that whatsoever because they don't think that it's the right idea to do it. They think it's a waste of time, so on and so forth. Who knows what it is? But yeah, Actman and all of them, I don't think Actman's a corporate shill. Don't know about the other two people. I could be willing to bet they are corporate shills. And hey, shills are gonna shill. They're always gonna side with the side that actually pays the bills, and it's kind of pathetic sometimes. But I'm going to leave it there, guys. Let me get you guys' thoughts on all that down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it up, friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video go live. And remember, links to this guy's description are down in the comments or down in the description down below. Bye for now.